What was this? Oh my goodness. So let me level with you. Trump could very well win. He could win, except he has one massively glaring flaw, and that is he doesn't know when to close his mouth. He has no clue. I don't think he's capable of closing his mouth. That is his flaw, and that is why he'll lose. Because he recently had a conference, and in this conference, he was just talking to talk, right? He was dismissing questions and stupid questions, and then his ego, man, pride comes before a fall, and this man is tripping and stumbling. He is fumbling. That is what's happening, and it's wild to see. It's absolutely wild to see. For example, he's talking about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is a radical leftist, yada, yada, communist. I'm like,
Kamala's record is horrible. She's a radical left person at a level that nobody's seen.
This is what I'm talking about, this duality in what they're saying. They speak out of both sides of their mouth. At one point in time, they want to, as far as, look at Kamala Harris. She locked up black men and everything. But at the other same time, Kamala Harris is a liberal. She doesn't care for law and order. And I'm like, which one is it, bro? They can't even get the messaging straight. Because how do you attack a prosecutor when you're the party of law and order? Like, what are you doing? So they keep on trying to say liberal, leftist, and all this, and it's not going anywhere because that's clearly not who she is. Then they want to talk about, oh, she's not even black. Is she black? I don't know if she's black. But as we just saw in my last video, they want to say, oh, look, this angry black woman. So it's like, what are you doing? And it's mixed messaging. Now the core is going to be like, durr. But for the rest of us, right, moderates and independents, we're going to be like, yo, you guys don't know what on earth you're talking about. Then when it comes to Walz, right, he talks about Walz like, well, he's a man and he's, liberal and he's into the trans stuff and everything, a lot of stuff and the trans stuff. I'm like,
she picked a radical left man that is, he's got things done that he has positions that are just it's not even possible to believe that they exist. He's going for things that nobody's ever even heard of. Heavy into the transgender world, heavy into lots of different worlds.
Bruh, this dude has nothing on him. He has nothing on him. And it's crazy for Trump to talk about the trans stuff. I'm like, what? We have Caitlyn Jenner. We have Blair White. Hell, y'all had Lady MAGA, who was a drag queen. So I'm like, everything that you've accepted into the party, now you're discriminating against, disparaging. Oh, look at this. He's into the trans stuff. And this is just so, since we're on the topic of trans stuff and everything, listen, you can't be for parental rights and then criticize when parents engage in parental rights. You can't say, hey, I'm all for parental rights and parents should be able to tell, what their kids watch, what they learn and everything. And then when parents are like, okay, yeah, I agree. My child is trans. I spoke with a professional and we're going to go on puberty blockers. Hey, that's not the parental rights I'm talking about. Like you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You can't do that. Either you're for parental rights and what they allow to have their, the engagement with their children, what their children do, or you're not. That unfortunately includes things you're not going to agree with. That's how freedom works. That's how they've been telling me how freedom works. That's how this country works. But what it seems to be is that he falls for these ego-driven questions. And the reporters know that he can't help it. He can't help it. I don't know. It's like a moth to the flame. They know it's going to destroy them, but they're just like, I can't help it. It's innate. I don't know. It's something in their DNA. And he's asked a question, and I'm not sure what the question was, because he starts off by talking about January 6th and how the people were treated unfairly, and then somehow goes into the crowd size.
No, I think the people that, if you look at January 6th, which a lot of people aren't talking about very much, I think those people were treated very harshly. And they were there to complain, not through me, they were there to complain about an election. And, it's very interesting. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to.
What? And I'm just like, where did January 6th and the crowd size come to be? And then he goes even further. Like he doesn't know when to stop. He then talks about Martin Luther King. He talks about Martin Luther King, how he's like, well, they said that he had 1 million and I had little, but I don't agree with that. He's trying to debate crowd size of Martin Luther King. I kid you not.
And I said peacefully and patriotically, which nobody wants to say, but I said peacefully and patriotically. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and you've seen, Maggie, I was at the mall, I was at the Washington Monument, I was at the whole thing. I had crowds, I don't know who's ever had a bigger crowd than I have, but I had it many times. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was that day, and I'll tell you, it's very hard to find a picture of that crowd. You see the picture of a small number of people relatively going to the Capitol, but you never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken, I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people.
What? What are you talking about?
That's what this man is talking about, how he had a bigger crowd size than Martin Luther King. I don't even know what to say to that, bro. I really, genuinely, I'm just confused. Like, why? For what reason? You're arguing with Martin Luther King's crowd size? Like, who cares? I don't understand. And I know they're asking questions about, well, what do you think about Kamala's, crowd size and everything? And it's so triggering to him. He's like, well, if I had 1,000 people, you all would say my campaign was dead. I'm just like, bruh, stop falling for the bait. Stop falling for the bait. And because he doesn't know how to close his mouth, he gets himself into these holes where now he's arguing about Martin Luther King's crowd size and how his was bigger. Who is this supposed to resonate with? I don't know. Black men, black women? I don't know. I don't understand. Who is looking at this and going, yeah, his crowd size was way bigger than MLK. Then he goes on like a lying spree. For example, January 6th, he talks about how January 6th, no one died.
Nobody was killed on January 6th. Nobody was killed on January 6th.
I'm sorry, is he suffering from amnesia? Is Trump honestly too old to run? That's what I'm starting to consider. How can you say that no one died when you showed up for Ashley Babbitt's funeral? What are you talking about? You made a statement on it, how it was horrible and everything, it shouldn't happen. I don't know. I genuinely don't know if he's just talking out of his butt or if he actually doesn't remember. Anyways, we have that. Then we have the gun rights, bruh. And y'all know how I've been flaming him for his gun rights and how he's pro Second Amendment. He talks about how he's the most Second Amendment president ever, how he stood for people's gun rights.
When I was president, I totally protected the guns. And I think it's very important.
What? What are you talking about?
And I'm like, how do you say that? How do you just boldly lie like that in people's faces when you did a bump stock ban and then you were advocating as far as for trying to get some type of negotiations when it comes to background checks and whatnot? Like, your bump stock ban was shown to be unconstitutional at the Supreme Court. How are you talking about your pro-Second Amendment when we have you on video talking about take their guns and then give them due process? How are people allowing him to just boldly lie like this? Just lie with no repercussions, no one checking him. And the worst part is that Republicans, the GOP, the MAGA, these cretins, bruh, they just allow him to say this stuff and applaud. I'm just like, what? Like, what? What? Am I living in an alternate reality here?
Did you all take stupid pills this morning?
But the last two things I took away from this contrast that were really, truly concerning and problematic is that this man was bragging about how much he gave to Israel.
If you think about it, I gave them Golan Heights. I gave them the capital of Israel, Jerusalem. I even built the embassy. I gave them Noah Randale. The problem is they didn't do anything with it. But I terminated that deal. I got them the Abraham Accords. Everyone said that's impossible. I got them the Abraham Accords. She's been very, very bad to Israel, and she's been very bad and disrespectful to Jewish people.
I'm sorry, What? Come again? You're bragging about how much you gave to a foreign country? He's talking about, I gave him this. I made the capital this. I gave him this. I'm just like, if he had said this about anyone else, if he had said this, just replace Israel with Russia. I gave Russia this. I gave Putin this. And anyone else, people's like spider senses would be going off. But the fact that it's been so conditioned, right? America has just had, I guess AIPAC and Israel has their necks around America and politicians so hard that they've managed to condition everyone else to see that as normal. I got a newsflash for you. It's not. That is not normal for the President of the United States to boast and brag about how much he's done for Israel. And then to contrast that with the irony of what happened with the Kamala Harris rally, where they were talking about, hey, you can't hide, you can't stand for genocide. And I'm just like, Trump is saying literally that if you vote for Kamala and you're Jewish, that you should get your head examined.
And I say it, if anybody I know is Jewish and they would vote for Kamala over me, they should have their head examined.
Like, how do those two events exist in the same world? Huh? Explain it to me, because it doesn't make any sense to me. But finally, and this, I don't understand how he could have a base with him saying this, other than the absolute core of the core, low IQ, knuckle-dragging PWTs of the Republican Party. And that is, he makes a crazy admission. And the fact is that he could have charged Hillary Clinton. He talks about how much he had on Hillary Clinton, but he chose not to because of some misguided sense of, moral superiority?
I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about it. I think it's a tragic story. You want to know the truth. And I felt that with Hillary Clinton, too. With Hillary Clinton, I could have done things to her that would have made your head spin. I thought it was a very bad thing. Take the wife of a president of the United States and put her in jail.
What? Look, if you're a Republican, if you're GOP, if you're MAGA, and you heard that after everyone was saying, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. And he's talking about why I tried to calm the crowd down and tell him, yo, take it easy. Take it easy? I'm sorry to believe that, honestly, it wasn't Hillary that had got Epstein. I think it was Trump. That's where I'm at right now. He's saying this in broad daylight. I don't know how anyone with an IQ above room temperature can vote for this man. I really don't. It's honestly impossible. It's impossible. Lock her up. One thing, he said it during his debate.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
That's what he said. This man just talks out of his ass. He just talks out of his ass. If Trump were to say we're going to give cash payments to black Americans who are descendants of slaves, I wouldn't believe him. Genuinely, I wouldn't believe him. He said that he was going to lock up Hillary Clinton because of all the stuff she'd done. We come to find out that he knew about all the stuff she'd done and chose not to. Despite his base talking about lock her up and him admitting that he would, well, if it was up to me, you'd be locked up in the debates. This man I don't know, man. This man stands for nothing. He stands for nothing, and he's being exposed. He's being exposed by the day. And it's a really sad, it's a sad ending. It's really a sad ending, truly. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe, look, you become a Democrat chill, okay? It's you and Kamala. Kamala. Have they reached out to you, Lucas Hunt? Are you getting paid by the DNC? Or if you don't believe, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with who's going to be the catalyst for our empowerment. That's it. At the end of the day, that's all that it circles around. That's it. That's the outcome. I don't care about her race. I don't care about his race. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is the outcome, the final product. That's what people need to understand. And everything that's coming out of Trump's mouth, it's not even Republican. It's just Trump. That's what it is. He sounds like a moderate liberal. That's what he sounds like. So even as a conservative, which I still very much am, I still wouldn't be able to vote for that. What are we talking about? So, and with the Republican, party as it is, when it comes to the alphabet, they're one and the same. They're one and the same. Just give it some time. and they'll have more Caitlyn Jenners. They'll replace, as far as Tucker Carlson, as they did, they'll replace him with another Caitlyn Jenner or Blair White. They'll do that, or they'll give a Rob Bussy Smith up there. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to that fight, that social conservative fight, that fight is gone, fam. That's bye-bye, dunzo, sayonara, okay? Because there's not one person on the Republican ticket that would endorse anything of what they're saying, anything. But if you happen to disagree, you know where to find me, Friday through Sunday, Disagreement Day. Call in, we duke it out. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share the video, comment, let me know what you guys think, and subscribe, and that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing.
Nobody was killed on January 6th.